So, the upcoming exhibition we're talking about today is Following Breadcrumbs by Adena Helm. She does amazing work. I recently did a deep dive on her stuff, and I gotta say I love her sculptures especially. They're so whimsical. They're like it's like a fairy tale, and but there's always stories behind her work, and you'll learn more about that in our interview today. But before I go, I'm going to also show you a little bit of her artwork. So these are what her paintings look like. They're just fabulous. I love the color. I love the depth behind each picture is just amazing. She's mixed media, so she uses all kinds of mediums in her work. And here's one of her sculptures right here. She works in clay sculpture for the most part. I believe she also adds additional things. This was a piece I really liked. It reminds me of me. I don't know why. It just does. It's just like the clay work. It has all the expression in it, and I love the shape of everything. And here's some of her other clay pieces, her clay sculpture works, and this is her. Her Elvis up here. He's really awesome. Look at that Elvis. It's amazing work. Here it is. Here's her at Critical Mass. That's the big art show where a lot of artists from the area submit their work. And here's a peek at one of her pieces for the upcoming art show. She actually talked to me a little bit about this piece. So, anyway, so let's go ahead and uh, bring you over to that. Enjoy it. It's a really good interview. Me and her had a lot of great conversation, and there's a lot to take away from it. So, enjoy. Hello, I'm Brittney Hazelton, and this is ArkLaTex Artistry, where we explore the arts in our area. Today's guest has an upcoming exhibition at the Bossier Arts Council exploring the use of figures, symbols, and color to tell visual stories in both paintings and sculptures. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, everybody. I'm Adena Helm. I live in Benton, Louisiana. I like to say I'm a mixed media artist, but really, I guess I'm more of a multimedia artist. My show currently is painting and sculpture. And another love of mine is autobiographical cartoons. And all of my work is based off of my cartoons.
Wonderful. So what I've seen from your art, I would say I'm very captivated with the expressiveness and the whimsicalness of your human figures. Can you tell me what inspires your work?
Well, my work changed after COVID. Before it used to be, I wanted to capture a moment in a painting, and now I want to capture a story in a moment.
Mm.
So, and I love whimsy and I love things that make you question what you always thought. So I like to throw in symbolism to expand on that story in the moment so that you can get as much information as you can possibly get if you pay attention. So, yeah, joy is, we need more joy in our lives. So, if I can inflict some joy, if inflict is the right word,
It's you.
into a,
It works.
well, sometimes, it starts off stinging, but then it's like, okay, that was good. But yeah, I love to do things you shouldn't do, if that is also the right way to put it. Sometimes if you paint what you should paint, it's just dull.
hmm It's good to take people out of their comfort zone. I feel like,
Yes,
especially
well, get a second look. Like, hey, what was that?
Mm-hmm.
So
You
that's
know,
exciting.
that's how people discover themselves, I think, is when you take them out of their comfort zone and what they're normally used to, and you expose them to something different or something that is outside the norm for them. They kind of breaks down that barrier of that they put up between them and other people, and they can discover some more about themselves, you know.
I totally agree.
But so um how did you discover your passion for creating art?
Well, I've always made art. It's just I go through phases of stained glass for a couple of years, murals for a couple of years. But all of these things build on each other. So my work might have a lot of elements of stained glass in that I love the strong structural lines.
Hmm.
I love the light from stained glass that I try to bring into my paintings. And the murals made me really pay attention to what is going to work from a distance. So there's all of these things I'm gathering um, in my box of skills, and it's also it's exciting to try something new. And mixed media is all about innovation
Hmm.
and problem solving. It's exciting, and you never know what's coming next.
I think that it takes very adaptive minds for to be a mixed media or multi media artist. You know, you have to be able to have that passion to learn new things constantly, and I think a lot of us are
Yes,
passionate
and the
learners of the arts.
practice of it. You have to. I think everybody could do this. They just have to practice. They have to
Right.
make it part of their. Well, I call making art my practice because you don't arrive today. You don't arrive. You're always getting there.
Mm-hmm. So you started at a young age, I'm assuming, like I did, probably.
I did, and I was very fortunate in that I am stubborn. And if somebody didn't like what I made, I didn't care. So that was a gift.
Oh, that is
So
nice. That the ability to not care. I had a period uh in my youngest, like elementary school, where people picked at me because I drew creatures, and and I think it put me off. I tried to stop being an artist for a little bit because of it. um but then, like, I just couldn't avoid wanting to tell stories. I got into like storytelling and like writing uh, and world building, and I was just like, I want to put what I am imagining in my head, that I see all the time in my head, out in the world. And then I forced myself to get in touch with my art side from when I was like in middle school and stuff. And yeah, just from there, I just kind of kept doing art, just so I could put my image from my mind into the world. So
I love what you call it world building.
yeah, world building. It's basically, just taking everything and just coming up with a story from scratch, building the world from a like origin point, and then
Yeah,
creating the universe out of it,
that,
and coming up with a story from the beginning. And all, to for me, mine is like, it starts at the beginning of time, and I'm still with my husband. We still are writing it. We go through eras of like technological advancement, but also like magical advancement in our stories. Um,
that's
so
exciting.
oh, thank you. So each of your pieces also have stories behind them, from what I understand.
Well,
Uh,
my perspective is I see what I've been given, but what if it's not like that? So sometimes I like to tell a story from the loser's perspective
ah.
or the sidekick's perspective, or what if it's not really like that?
Well, yeah, because honestly, we only have an outside perspective on things, we never know the truth unless, we actually dig into it. And
Well, if you look at it in the face, it's not always the same.
mm-mm, it's not,
Oh, I have an example
Okay.
from one of the paintings in my show. This will date me, but back when I was a kid, I went to vacation Bible school and we sang a song. Um, if the devil doesn't like it, he can sit on a tack. Do you remember that song?
I vaguely do. It's been so long, but I vaguely do.
Well, I painted it, and
Oh,
so I had to stop and consider, what does the devil look like? So I decided the devil would be very seductive and very handsome, because how else could he get
I
us to
mean,
do something?
if you consider the fact that he was considered the most beautiful angel,
Yes. Well, you know, when
then
I was growing up, they always painted him ugly with horns and half a goat.
mhm.
And anyway, I decided that I would make him, my guy is a combination of Prince, Elvis, and a little bit of the Bee Gees. But I put him in the process of sitting down on a tack, and he liked it.
Oh,
So I don't know what made us think that he wouldn't take us up on that dare and that he wouldn't like it. But
I
he's making
mean,
eye contact in the painting.
oh,
Yeah,
and
so it's sort of it makes me laugh, and it's a new perspective on something we were told was reality.
thinking
Reality.
about it, I like that. I like the it people think that it's going to be one way and then you look at it and it takes them again talking about taking people out of their comfort zone. And I imagine that there are people that would feel uncomfortable like, "Wait, what?" The
Yeah.
the oh, the masochism here is real. But that that would be expected, in actuality if you really think on it. If you dig
Yes.
deeper on the subject. I
It was
love
a
that.
lot of fun to consider and to paint. So a lot of these things are like they're knowledge and awareness and healing for me, to look at things that I just took as truth, just growing up.
I see. That's amazing. I love that. I love the so is your show overall is kind of playing following breadcrumbs is your upcoming
Yes.
show. And so it literally is following
Yeah.
the truth underneath everything in a
Yes.
way.
Well, I'll
That's
start off with a question and I answer as I go.
that's
Well,
a-
when I say answer, I mean I consider as I go.
There you go. That's awesome. I'm definitely gonna have to come and see that to see the show in person, definitely, and try to hopefully be at the reception because
Well,
um
I hope you'll be there.
so for your show specifically, I know you use a lot of mediums. What are the main mediums you used in this exhibition?
Well, in the clay objects, it was mostly low fire clay. Well, some of it was high fire clay, but you know, stoneware, things fired in a kiln,
Mhm.
and some glazes and some water based paint. It
Okay.
depends. I'm so used to, I just can't quit messing with it. So if I felt like it needed more after I've already fired it, well, I'm just
Oh.
going to figure out a way to add some more. So, and
I,
the paintings are mostly acrylic, but there's some collage elements, and I love acrylic ink.
oh. Do
Have you
I
played?
A little bit of I've only very little I think I had one experience with it. Someone else had it. But I've actually always been curious because I've played with alcohol ink and
Uh,
water, with the watercolor pens. I don't know if you've ever had those, but they're really cool.
yes,
Uh, so is it more vibrant? How would you say it works?
I like that it's unpredictable, because I feel like I am painting with an unknown something.
Oh,
Does that make sense? I feel like,
yeah.
okay, I'm making a mark and then I'm letting my soul make a mark. So
Okay.
sometimes I'll throw paint on the canvas, or but I love with ink you can put it on there and then let it run, or you
Oh,
can press colors together. I love the experimental aspect of it.
it kind of like the way you're describing it kind of reminds me of the alcohol ink I've played with. I
One
combine.
great thing about alcohol is that the alcohol ink repels. So if you drop alcohol ink on a wet acrylic section that you've painted, it will make its own bloom. And I
Oh,
like the interaction of that with the alcohol inks. It's very exciting.
okay. I will have to definitely experiment with that myself. That sounds like it'd be fun. Especially
Yeah.
mixed media artists to mixed media artists. That
Yeah.
that sounds like you could get some really cool effects on a canvas or on a.
Yes, and you will always have ink on your feet.
So do you use canvas or do you use like canvas board or something along those lines?
I mostly use canvas. A lot of times I will cover it with papers first, and I also like to use spray paint and
Okay,
stencils. It's it
nothing wrong with
adds
that.
more. Yeah, it's exciting.
I've
It
uh,
adds some more text when you need some.
I've used spray paints on my work a few times, and there's been times I've taken like old books, like
Hmm.
psychology tech, like books that I have just that are like bad condition. I just take the pages and I put them on the canvas before I decide to start making my
Yeah, that's
images.
exciting. Well, it's nice to see that text peek through, and those old pictures are
Oh
nice.
yeah. And sometimes if you get like if you place them just right, you'll have like really cool quotes of something that may be relevant to and it may inspire the piece while you're making, at least for me, it inspires the piece. Like I'll look at the words and like, okay, I think I could hone in something, an image from the text that I'm seeing in the random parts of the piece of work and build it from there. Sometimes that because the background can also play into it's like the subconscious thought, even if it's like
Right.
under layers, you can kind of pick
Right.
it up if it's translucent enough. But
Well, it's like that mysterious other person that I paint with. I kind of look at it like that's their contribution. I
hey,
didn't plan on it. Could be interesting.
but that's kind of cool. Yeah, I mean, also it's like I collaborated. They may have not known that they collaborated with me, but they collaborated. um
Yeah, which one is unaware? Hmm.
so what do you enjoy the most about the creative process?
I love it's sort of like going to another place where if there's joy and flow and thought and discussion and singing, and I don't have to wash the dishes or change anybody's diaper. It's a wonderful other world to be in.
It's kind of like living in a fairy tale in a way, I
It
would
is, and
say.
that's where my real self is. I don't
Me
have to
too.
do anything or say the right thing or be something for somebody else. It's part of it's totally unmasked to be
Oh,
there. When
that
you
makes
step away from you gotta put your mask on. Do you? I don't know, but I do.
Yeah, no, there's always a mask that we have to wear, and especially when you have like a job where you have to go to, and there's that mask. But when you're creating art, it's
Yeah,
just
you're
all
free.
gone. You're just free. I think that's why a lot of it. We're rebels, us artists. We always have been. We
Yeah,
want
don't
to.
tell me what to do.
That's exactly how I feel a lot of the time. You know, we're the
Yeah, I have
rebels.
another painting that is it's a the painting's about being masked,
Oh.
but it's a whole body mask. Um and that one is called Trojan Hoe for Trojan horse. You have hoed yourself out to please other people.
I
But that's
see.
one of my favorite paintings.
I want to see that one actually. I want to have to ask you to get me a picture so I can check
I'll
it
give
out.
you a tour. If you come to the opening, I'll tell you whatever you need to know.
All right, that's wonderful. I look forward to that. So what advice would you give any artist wanting to start on something like mixed media or sculpture work?
I would say just make time for it and don't let anything encroach in your time. And I like, if I can't get to a painting one day, I'll work in my sketchbook. I make time for art every single day. And if I don't do anything, I sketch every day.
There you
And
go.
it's just ideas. If anything catches my interest, it needs to be created. And if it's a cartoon or, well, I cartoon every single day. And that's where all my ideas come from. So it's part of the process, the practice of making art. And sometimes you just need to get quiet and stick to your time.
Mm-hmm. That's
Because
wonderful.
busyness is the opposite of creativity.
That's true. It's true. Just, be creative and not let anything else hold you back. Some people are just like, oh, well, I feel like sometimes people wait for a spark or like inspiration, but like sometimes it's just sitting with yourself, with your tools, with everything in front of you and just go for it. See what you can create. Even if it's a
Yeah, well,
new meat.
be ready when it comes.
Exactly. If even if it's like a new medium, pick it up, spend your time getting familiar with it and then just start putting it out there. Start using it and experiment.
Yeah, just, yeah,
Exactly.
totally.
It's important to do those things, and thank you for your advice. I'm sure there'll be artists that appreciate it. I would encourage more artists to. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, well, you got to focus in on a medium and hone it in." But for me as a mixed media artist, I was like, "Why do I need to restrict myself?" And but I understand. I understand some. There are some people that have mastered a medium, like that medium is everything and they are so good at it, and I respect that too. I really do. Watercolor artists and like, oil painters, I respect that.
Well, when I was in college, I did a cartoon about this recently. Um, every Friday was critique day. And we would get, critiques from the instructor and each other. We never talked about technique, never. We talked about what was your intention and were you successful.
Yeah, and
So
conveying that
mastering
intention.
medium is that's secondary to what are you trying to say and did you say it?
There you go. That's very true. The medium is really only the tool in which we use, and they're all tools, and whatever we
Yes,
want to say can be crafted out of it. Well, thank you so
yes.
much for talking to me today about this, and we look forward to your show at the Bossier Arts Council uh, for following breadcrumbs. And
Following bread.
oh, wonderful. So, is there anything else you would like to say to our viewers before we go?
Just make some art today. And if it feels like art, it is art.
Thank you so much. Well, I'll see you at the opening, and we'll talk again if you ever have another exhibition or something. You're welcome to have come onto the podcast and talk with me again.
Thank you so much for talking with me. And I hope y'all come to the opening. And if you can't make it to the opening, please come to the show.
All right. Thank you so much. You take care.
Thank you. You too.
All right. So that was my interview with Adena Helm. It was a great show. It was a great interview. I look forward to the show. I've seen some of the pictures of the art that's going to be there. It's going to be really cool. Um, you can find more interviews like this one on our KSLA News Now app, on our Roku Apple TV app, or on YouTube. On our website, you can go to community and find ArkLaTex Artistry, and all of my articles that I write for each one of these Zoom interviews is there. If you're not interested in reading the about the interviews and seeing the pictures, you can always just go under podcasts and find my podcast, Architects Artistry. There, we we have these interviews and many documentaries about local artists every weekend, Saturday at noon. So catch me next weekend, Saturday at noon, and we're gonna have another fun interview there about with a game developer. So that should be fun.